But I realized that a more healthy and sustainable way of parenting is that we need to know that children are not below us.
I like that. Tell me more.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2.
Episode 2. And we are the
Imperfect Rainbow. And if you're listening to this one today, it means that probably either you are very bored at your...
or you're having some personal time, some me time, unwinding, kind of spending time away from your relatives and your friends, chilling out a little bit.
Yes, and then Happy New Year! Chinese New Year!
新年快乐! This is 初一 or 初二, right?
初一
哈
Yeah, we want to launch this on 初一.
初一咧, we launch it on 初一, 快翻哦.
Yeah, Year of Dragon, oh my gosh. And now just the year has come for us.
Yes,
to do this episode 2.
In the blink of an eye, 我们又要过年了, okay? So if you're feeling that, you've got, again, you're just kind of going for your Chinese New Year visits, etc., this would be a great time for you to listen to us.
Yes, and today we're going to speak about two topics.
One topic. A combination of two roles,
Two
I guess.
roles.
Yes.
And so our episode name is Parenting and Pawrenting. Why are we doing this?
Because you are a parent and I am a parent, and we both feel that there are very similar lessons that we can learn from this very important phase of our lives.
Correct.
Obviously for you, Maddy, being a parent started many years ago. I think being a parent for me only started about 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of new in this journey, but I can already see how much of an impact it has in my life.
Yeah, so basically when we were doing season 1 together, we were like brainstorming on what are topics to record, right? And then we were like, hey, we have a lot to talk about this topic. And I think my big why is because being a parent and a mother made me a better person.
Yes.
Yes,
totally.
It's like, so with all the difficulties in being a mother, and there's like all these lessons that we will really want to share our stories with all of you out there, and that's the reason why lah.
Yeah.
What is your big why?
I feel that parenting, very similar to parenting, is a very selfless job. And I think because it's so selfless and you are putting your attention and energy on your kids, on your pets, and because of that, we grow and develop as individuals from the process. So I feel that it's very critical for us to then draw lessons from this kind of this stage of our life where we are parent or parent. And I feel that it deserves airtime to talk about. And I think even when I was preparing for this podcast during my vacation, it's interesting, right? Just to kind of see like, these are the little things that I kind of gained along the way, and I feel that it's really developed me as a person greatly.
Yeah, and just to share, Jeremy has a dog.
Yes,
right?
I do.
Yeah, he's a parent of a dog named Momo.
Yeah, I think we should start from there, huh? What do we have,
你还没有
right?
讲你的 pet 是什么吗？
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me start with that. So my little pet, I have a dog at home. She's called Momo. Love of my life number 2. Okay, because my first love of my life is my partner, so it's very important to acknowledge that. I adopted her 2 years ago. 2 to 3 years ago during kind of tail end of COVID, and she is a crossbreed of a Spitz, Japanese Spitz, and a Chow Chow. So she looks very fluffy. She's black, gorgeous hair, and fur, and I think she has a lot of issues at the beginning, right? I think she was a dog breeder. In other words, she's basically, being kept to breed and they sell off her kids and her children. And I don't think she was very well loved, in the first part of her life. So I just really want to give her, so much love for, this part of her life. And I'm so happy she came into my life. It's made such a big difference.
What made you decide to take on this responsibility to be a parent? Because I'm sure it has to be a conscious decision.
Of course.
You have to navigate through different factors.
Of course. Can I just say that it's a me decision?
Of course.
It's more of a me because I've always wanted a pet, and specifically a dog. And me and my partner were always saying, I think we'll do it when you're retired and we can travel so much. Obviously, when COVID happened, we thought it's a good opportunity to kind of get a dog or adopt a dog. So, and again, I hope, people listening out there, if you can adopt, if you can't, and again, there's nothing wrong in buying, but if you can adopt, there's lots of dogs out there who would really, really be great for them to have a happy home. So I wanted to have a dog, I wanted to adopt a dog, and we thought COVID was the right time to do it because the timing was great. So for us to train her, get her used to the home, so that when COVID ended, we can go back to a kind of our normal schedule. But the dog will have already been, be familiar with the environment and be happy with us. So I think it's important.
So 2 years into parenthood journey, how has it been? Because talk about, you have lessons to learn from it, and how was the whole journey like?
I think it's been quite amazing. And we'll obviously share some of the lessons, but I think I just want to say overall it's been very blissful. I think having a pet really brings out a different part of your life. And so much of it is in the lessons towards yourself, your observations about your pet. And actually a lot of the impacts also felt in my relationship with my partner. Yeah. So you'll be surprised at how much of our relationship has improved because of my pet. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about then your parenthood journey. Yeah. Before we go into the lessons.
I think so similar to you. Being a mother, like whether or not your parent, just like that motherhood, parenthood journey is difficult. And sometimes it's not that you opt to be a parent, right? So like it happened, and then I think what made me realize over the years of being a parent is that there is no right or wrong way of doing it. And it also made me go deeper into self-development. Because understanding that, there's so many things in the whole parenthood journey that's out of your control, but there's really only one thing that most likely you can control is your own reaction to this whole situation.
For sure.
Whether is it like, children falling sick or they have tantrums or whatever. But I think as a result of learning to be a better person in this whole parenthood journey makes me definitely improve my relationship with my partner and my husband. And showing up better at work for myself and just able to do greater things because I've navigated and still navigating the difficulties and challenges of parenthood. And also very rewarding at the same time.
I'm sure. But I must say it takes a lot of courage because if you ask me, right, given the right circumstances and all, I am and conditions, I want to have kids, I'm still going to say no at this point in time, right? And I know a lot of LGBT couples out there, and I know there are many options today to be able to foster kids or to have your own kids. But for me, it is an option that I would not have. I would not choose because I don't think I want to have kids. So I want to say is kudos to you for having kids. And the question is, like, how do you get the courage to have kids? Like, why do you want to have kids? That's an interesting question.
Firstly, the first kid, it was not like I have option.
Okay, we know the story.
But the second, I think the whole beauty of this whole journey is that when you realize that your actions and your words and what you do and show as a parent can actually impact a human being, and then that human being can take on whatever you teach and impact others. That's very fulfilling. Actually, I mean, I think the whole science of it that, you can actually produce a person, that alone is quite magical. And there is no big why, to be honest. It's just navigating along the way and then discovering.
Sure. And it's probably as a parent, it feels quite natural as well, right? Like the progression in life, to be able to have kids.
Natural lah. I don't know if it's called natural. But I will say that it's very rewarding. Coming through 10, 11 years of being a mother now, that I think I can see some light, some colours of rainbow emerging. Because in the beginning it was all dark and stormy, you know.
Yeah. It's tough. I must say, I've always seen parenting to be a very interesting journey. Not one that I'll take, but I think it's not easy. I think I've spoken to a lot of parents. And I think they all kind of struggle at the beginning a little bit. Hopefully at some point in time it gets better, but we'll get into it. Yeah. For sure.
So today we have kind of identified a few key pillars on how being a parent and a parent have developed ourselves, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Let's start with the first one.
The
self.
For self.
How do you become better as a result of being a parent too?
Okay.
Pawrent to Momo.
Pawrent to Momo. And I just want to add to that. I think we want to start with self because we feel that most of these lessons that we have taken from this parenthood and parenthood journey is really lessons about ourselves. Yeah. Right? I mean, we realize that we are the ones that we can truly change our value system. We can change our practices, our behavior, and it's all within our sphere of control, which is why I think a lot of the change actually happens within ourselves. Yeah. So I've got a couple of points. So one thing about parenthood, and I think a lot of parents will know this, is you'll be surprised at how much more love, patience, energy, and time you can find within yourself when you take on that journey or the role of being a parenthood. Like you would think, I think I only have this amount of energy, right? I only have this amount of love and patience. But it's only until you have really welcomed like a little dog into your life, or you adopt a dog, then you realize that, oh my gosh, I'm actually capable of so much more.
Yeah.
So I think what I want to say is we often don't give ourselves enough credit to realize that we are capable of so much more. And it's only when you're given a situation like this where, you welcome this animal into your life, then you realize, oh wow, I actually have so much more to give.
I really like this a lot. I think it's like if we didn't have the chance to be a parent or parent, we thought that love is a scarcity model. There is only so much that I can love. Like I already love myself and my work and my partner so much. There's no way that I can love a dog or a kid. But when it comes in, then oh wow, love can be multiplied.
Yes.
It's abundance of it.
Yes.
Is this what you're saying?
Oh, definitely. And a lot of times it comes at a price. It comes at the price of you sacrificing your needs. Yeah, so let's be honest about that, right?
So familiar.
Yeah, it comes at the price of you giving up certain time. Sometimes it's about gym time. Sometimes it's about personal time. But I want to say it's extremely rewarding, because what happens is you begin to develop a part of yourself that is so selfless. And that's actually very, very beautiful. Because then you're not living in a very self-centered world. You're beginning to live in an other-centered world. And I think that in itself opens up doors of or aspects of yourself to find out actually you have a lot more to give to the world.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how is this rewarding? Because I think to maybe our listeners out there, like, hey, you got to sacrifice your gym time, you got to sacrifice your passion to care for to love for a dog. But how is then this sacrificing and giving love to your pet a rewarding one? How does this reward come about?
Wow. Okay, so all the pet owners out there, I think you kind of know how this question goes. I think the reward comes in the fact that these pets will love you unconditionally. Unconditionally. And I tell you, no human being or no being in this world will love you as much as the pets love you. I mean, which animal, which being, once you walk in through the door at the end of the day, no matter how tired you are, no matter how lousy your day has been, whatever you've gone through, you walk through the door, the first thing that greets you is your dog, wagging, so for me it's Momo. Momo coming to the front of the door, wagging her tail, and the look on her face when you walk in through the door is, oh, you're back. Yay, you're back. You're my world. You're my universe. The love of my life, the universe of my life is back. I'm wagging my tail. I'm like, yes. I tell you, that moment, no matter what happens to you in that day, as you walk through the door and you come face to face with the dog, that moment just melts away every single stress in your life. Trust me. You put down your bag, your haversack, your briefcase, your laptop, whatever, you put everything down. You walk over to Momo, you walk over to your dog, and then you spend that few minutes just kind of caressing your dog, talking to your dog. Suddenly your energy tank is just full. Like, it may have been it may have been like 1%, right? Your battery may be 5%, 10%, whatever. When you walk into the door, 5 minutes with your dog is full tank again. Unbelievable. The kind of reward you get from your dog in that sense is unmeasurable.
I think what I'm hearing from this is with that, even with the sacrifice or the sleepless nights that we devote in this role, that we may or may not subscribe ourselves to, what we get back is this energy of unconditional love. In this case, Momo, wagging her tail, you know that there's this energy bouncing back off on you, and that can actually increase your depleted battery to 100%. And when you are, because I'm not a dog owner, but when you're seeing this, right, like I'm like in my mind, I'm like, like my children, they're also giving me that unconditional love.
Yes.
In their own ways, like always hugging. The hugging of that exchange of energy is genuine. It's not without any conditions.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and there's something magical about hugging. I don't know if we talk about it often enough. And again, I probably don't have it in theory right now. But when we hug, do you know there's biochemistry happening? So there is a biochemistry.
Oxytocin.
Yes, oxytocin, exactly, right? That gets to your body. So your body begins to develop oxytocin, and it creates happy energy and happy positive vibes when you're hugging. And I think it happens to pets, it happens to children.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think children and pets, I think it's really, really magical.
And I have to say that like the hug between the child and me and like the hug between me and my husband, different.
Different, of course. Yeah.
Like I can't say in words like what's the difference, but there is so much of that love. Like it's different, like different kind of love.
How do your kids your kids greet you when you come back home? I mean, is that how a dog does?
Okay, it really depends on whether the TV is on.
I see. Okay, being very real here. Okay.
Yeah. Like if the TV is on, they're distracted, then there's no big welcome lah. But I think children show their love in different ways.
Yes.
And I think like if I could relate to one point, like because we have this practice of writing year-end letters to each of us in the family. That started a couple of years ago.
Great habit, by the way. Great practice.
Yeah,
yes.
It's like a gratitude journal. Just one letter at the end of the year.
Oh.
And then last year, my younger daughter, she wrote this letter to me. Very short letter lah, kitty letter. She said that she said that if she has superpower, she wished that I have superpower. And the superpower that she wished that I have is that I will never die.
Oh.
Yeah. And she wrote the same to her dad, like they just want us in our life forever. But of course I debunked that thought. So you know that it's not gonna happen, right? But you know that kind of
innocence.
That is the innocence and that love that they're giving in this letter, which like wow, that is a reward despite all the sacrifices and the challenges.
Yes. And truly I think the kind of love that we get from a pet or from a child is the innocence. It's the innocence, untainted, unconditional love.
You don't need to be like whoever for them to love you. They just love you for who you are. They just meet you at that level.
Exactly. Wow. And how much of that we don't get to receive these days very, very often, right?
And it's hard for us to do that to anyone, right? Like how do we be unconditional loving every single one that we meet? Not all.
Yeah. So this is really precious.
Yeah.
Really precious. Yeah, so I think it's really one thing that I learned about myself. I definitely have the capacity for more. I think there's also a thing about learning to be very observant. Yeah. And I think if you're a pet owner, you also know this. So basically, your pet cannot communicate. Or rather, your pet doesn't say out what it's feeling, right? Momo won't tell me, hey, Lao Pei, I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry, right? No, your dad won't tell you that, or your dad won't tell you, hey, I need to pee now. So what happens? What happens is the owner, so the daddy, me, you have to be extremely observant. And I think that's a skill that I picked up. I actually do want to say that it's something that I feel that I have picked up and attuned quite finely because I've got a pet. Because as human beings, I mean, you can observe for sure, but at least you have the avenue of communication. You can put it into words. But with pets, you can't do that. So you really have to observe, like, what's my pet feeling right now? So you're looking at, are her ears up or ears are down? What's the expression on her face? Is the tail wagging or not? Is she comfortably in her favorite corner, or she's not in her favorite corner? Is she eating less than usual, more than usual? Is she pooping more, pooping less? Is she peeing less, peeing more? And all these little things require to be more observant. So I feel that has really tuned my observation skill. And interestingly, I feel that the observation skill has spilled over to my world. So the way I observe my partner, the way I observe my friends, the way I observe my workplace, my meetings. Interesting. So it was actually a skill that I feel that I've learned it from Pawrenting, but it was a skill that I could actually kind of bring up. I'm being more observant as a person in general.
Maybe because like as a person, even we can say and articulate our thoughts and our feelings, but sometimes maybe our body language may show in a different way.
Yes.
Is this observation skill that you are practicing it in your workplace or what? Exactly.
Yeah, so you'll be surprised, right? Because like you're relating to pets, but then actually it's something that I can actually kind of learn and to be observant. And what I like about it is being observant actually helps us to be less of a me, more of the other person. Yeah, because your objective is to try to understand. So you are trying to seek to understand. You're coming from a position where you're trying to understand more than you want to communicate.
You want to connect.
You want to connect. Yeah, you want to understand, you want to connect.
It sounds to me that like even though you've been only 2 years of being a parent, but you're very good in doing it. I don't know, because I don't hear like, I'm sure there are a lot of struggles that you had at being a parent, but
yes,
like,
of course.
It sounds like a very loving journey that got you to picking up all these skills and spilling over to other areas of your life.
For sure. But I think it's very similar to how when you have kids, right? I mean, once you have kids, you definitely kind of put a focus on your kids, and then you'll be being a lot more selfless. Yeah. And then in that process, you also begin to discover things about yourself. I think the discovery thing about myself is what's interesting. as a parent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, definitely I discovered a lot about myself when I become a mother. And like this is the story, and I think I shared this in episode 2, right? Like because of the early years of being a motherhood, I realized that I have completely only focused on my children. I neglected everything about myself.
Right.
But it's only through this neglect and years into parenthood, then I realized that, okay, I need to take charge and prioritize myself. I need to take care of my own physical health, my own well-being, before I can even be a better parent for my children. So this parenthood journey has allowed me to realize that I need to prioritize myself as the number one.
Yeah.
And before I can then show up for them. And
that's in a way, it's also role modeling for your children, right? Because you want to show them that, hey, I have a life. I have a life that I want to take charge of. I have a life that I want to live to the fullest, apart from the fact that I'm also a mother.
Yeah.
So I have different roles to play as an individual.
And I think I learned that this part of us learning and discovering ourselves and trying new things in our parenthood journey, like even whether it's intentional or not, it really spills on to some the children see in a good light. Because
tell me more.
One day I was reading. I mean, like reading is something that I picked up, and one day my daughter asked me, "Oh, mommy, I thought that adults stop learning."
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What a perceptive statement to make.
Yes, she said that. Oh, I didn't know that adults still can learn some more. So I think like for us as parents, we are like the children, they are schooling, like we want them, we hope for them to do academically okay.
Yes.
But if we want them to learn and have an open and growth mindset, we need to exemplify this ourselves. But also learning in our own ways. We don't learn their textbooks like
yes. We don't go to school like them anymore.
We don't go
yes,
to
of
school
course.
in the same manner, but we have to show up as the person that we want them to be.
How do you think she came to that conclusion or that idea in the first place that, adults don't learn like we do anymore?
I don't know actually, but when she asked this question, it sparked something in me like, probably in, I don't know, maybe the conversations with friends, they thought that, maybe they think that parents are always the one that know it all.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's one of the tips that I wanted to share in this podcast
please.
is that I think over the years of parenting, I definitely changed my style alongside with my self-development journey. And of course, now children, they are in their primary school. They are also a bit more mature. They can articulate and they can understand things better. But I realized that a more healthy and sustainable way of parenting is that we need to know that children are not below us.
I like that. Tell me more.
I mean, as a adult, right? We need to treat them as equals, despite us having lived on this earth more years. That's the only thing that we are above them is having more time on this earth. But in terms of our knowledge, in terms of our understanding of things, about situations, it doesn't make us more superior than them. And why I say that this is one of the tips I want to share across, because when children ask us questions or ask for our advice, usually if you have a fixed mindset, thinking that you're more superior than the children, you just
know
say,
everything,
this is not the way. You should do this. And that dismissal is going to instantly disconnect your relationship with your children. Because we think that we know it all. But the truth is, who says that we can't learn from our children?
Yep.
They have a lot of value to share. So I think if we are able to bring ourselves to know that we are equal, we are not more superior than them. We don't own them, seriously. We gave birth to them, but we don't own them. They are their own individual. They have their own mind and decision-making power. I think that alone can be quite powerful.
And I think you shared something there, and I think that I want to pick that up. So I think when we kind of give the attitude or that, that we know everything, I think we lose the opportunity to learn together with them. Yeah, and I think that is precious because I think one of the, and this drawing from an example that I've heard before, because, and I don't recall this, there was a particular campfire that happened in the workplace, and someone was asking like, hey, how do I teach my children about LGBTQ community? How do I teach my children about it? But, and obviously the kid, and their expectation is, hey, my kids look for me for answers, right? And all the while, so obviously it's a typical parent, again, like what you're saying, I always have the answers, right? But when it comes to this, like, hey, my kids are asking me about LGBTQ community, what should I do? And I don't really know, like somebody about transgender, for example, or drag queen. I really don't know the answer. What should I do? Somebody gave a really good answer. And somebody said, there's an opportunity for me to go to the child and say, hey, you know what? I would love to find out about it. I don't have the answers.
Let's do it together.
Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Let's go and learn something together. Let's read a book together. Let's take the opportunity to learn together. I think that's powerful.
Yeah.
That opens up a whole new space for you to learn and grow together with your kids.
And I think for a child, if they see that a parent has this open mindset to learn together with them, they will feel safe, they will feel seen, and they feel that they are heard.
Yeah.
And what happens when a child feels safe and seen and heard is that they will keep coming back to you. They'll keep coming back home to ask you for advice.
I love it.
Because when you say that, when you disconnect them in your own superior thinking, right? What happens is they will just start to go out. They will talk out all the friends. I mean, not saying that friends are bad, but they will just keep going out for that safety.
Yeah, because you give me dead end already, but I come to you, you give me a dead end, right?
Exactly, and you're going to lose them. So you have to keep them as equals.
Love it.
And keep them feel safe and at home and be heard.
And I think what also happens when you kind of give them the dead end, I think you kind of shut off their thinking.
Yeah.
You're not encouraging
you're dismissing their thoughts.
You're dismissing their thoughts, and you're not encouraging critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, but I also want to acknowledge it does take courage to say that let's learn together. It takes courage to go like, okay, well, let's have some critical thinking.
You have to drop your sense of self completely.
I think so, no. I think it's not easy.
I think like the really important thing for parents to know is that we have to be really intuitively aware that we don't own our children. They are not us.
Wow.
It's very easy to say, but it's difficult to distinguish.
It's not easy.
They are our flesh and blood
Yes,
but that's it. They are their own.
Yes, they are
and
their
if you
own.
are able to kind of slowly realize this, right, then I think this whole meeting them as equal is going to get easier.
Yeah. That reminds me of something that I've read recently. Again, that book I've been telling you about in Japan. I think, and again, without going into that because that's not where I'm going, that book is not what I'm going to today. But I think we need to kind of recognize that the child has his or her life to live. And we have our own lives to live.
Yes.
We can influence their lives. We can definitely give great inputs into their lives, but we cannot live their lives. And we cannot dictate how they live their lives. But what we can do is best give them the best environment to nurture them and support them on their life.
And we have to, at the same time, not stop living our own lives. We have to live our lives.
Yes,
right?
This
is the reason why we're doing this podcast, because we want to inspire listeners like you to find purpose and find joy and passion in whatever you're doing, even though you're a parent to 5 children, okay? Like young children, okay? But you still can have a life because your only role is not a parent, you are you yourself.
You hold multiple roles, for sure. And that is fulfilling the different aspects of your life as a person. And I think that is a healthy whole person. And you know what? I feel that when a kid looks at you and go like, hey, my mom is doing that. She's playing the role of mother and she's doing that well. She's playing the role of a wife. She's doing that well. She's playing the role of a friend. She's playing the role of whatever. This to me is a complete person.
And that teaches them to be a whole person themselves when they grow up in their own ways.
I fully agree on that. Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there. But I think it takes a lot of courage to also do that, because I think this is not what society shows us. A lot of times they show us that the woman figure is the right prototype or stereotype of the woman figure is, like either the working mom or whatever. And sometimes I think it's a very skewed idea of what a woman should be in society. And I think we need to challenge that.
Yes.
We need to challenge that.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So that's a lot we have learned about ourselves.
Yes, that's a lot,
Yeah. Any more lessons about you learning about yourself in motherhood?
I think actually that quite covered quite a bit, but I think I have one thing is,
yes,
I mean in this whole growth and learning journey on parenthood, we have to realize that what is the values that we want to bring across to our family, our children. And this is also a little bit about family as an entire unit, right?
Yes. How
do we progress and grow as a family together with our children? And the thing is, this values thing is not talked about enough. It's easy to just go by the days, parenting, working as autopilot, but really as a family, what are the important values that we live by? And I think even to open this topic of setting values with your children, it's not too late. It's not something that should be only done as adult. To be honest, we are doing this a bit late because we are adults. But I think nothing is stopping us from identifying what is important with our children. Let's say, for example, love, connection, bravery, and things like that. I say this because I started to discuss values with my children a couple of years back, and we have this list of 10 family values. That
Interesting.
We write it on a paper.
And very deliberate, lah. Not everybody does that. I want to say, okay, it's a very deliberate exercise, okay.
And of course, we write doesn't mean we always follow, but at least there's this like a family values, right? There's this whole thing that we stick to, and if things still, like if they make some mistakes or if they do something wrong, we can always fall back. Hey, remember that honesty is one of our values.
I love that.
So let's be honest. If you done something wrong, just say it. Just be honest and own it. That kind of thing. So it's really. And nothing is stopping us from parenting in our own ways.
Yes,
because look at the way our parents parent us. They come from a different generation.
Yes.
Education, money, security is all a different environment than us. So we can be that generation to break the difference and parent in a new way that brings up better people.
I'm very curious about that, and I really like the idea. I'm very curious about it. Tell us a little bit more when you talk about having that, kind of working out the values of your family. How's the process like? Do you involve your kids?
Yes.
Do you involve your your spouse? Do you like how's the process looking like?
So it is a discussion for I can't remember if my husband was inside. Like, probably he's not around. But then,
how come you involve your husband?
Because he doesn't ideate these things, right? So I'm the ideator.
So you have to drive it.
I'm the driver in this kind of thing. So it was I know that it was me and my 2 children. We have our journal. I printed them each a journal. And then on the first page of the journal, I said, okay, guys, we need to write down our family values. And that time they were a little bit young, lah. So I had
how young were they when they did this?
Like I think 7, 8 years old.
Okay, but you think that they are already at the age where they understand.
Yeah, they are. They understand a little bit, but and then they were able to write words and also say, okay, we're going to write our family. I think I told them like rules or values. I cannot remember.
Sure, family rules or values.
But what we wrote on the values is like respect, honesty, kindness, and then I wrote something like no whining, take action, just take action.
I like the no whining part.
No whining, take action, and all these kind of things I can't remember. But it was just it was done together as a family unit, so that they know that hey, we have certain things that we need to kind of follow through. Yeah. This guidance, these things that brings us together. Yeah. But. Yeah, like that.
So you involve your kids in the process.
Yes, and in decisions making discussions now that they are much older, 10, 11, a lot of family discussions, holidays, digital screen time, number of hours, all these are joint discussions where we get consensus.
Very good.
It's no longer this is my way, you follow. It can work in the earlier years, but now as they grow up, there needs to be that safety space where their views and their opinions are heard. Maybe I don't agree, but then we have to talk it out.
That's great. So I guess it's like your a newer form of parenting.
Yes, I definitely, and this is not natural for me. It definitely evolved over the years. Like, hey, actually, there's an easier way of parenting. We just got to like drop our ego self.
Sure.
And meet them at where they are.
I love it. Meeting them at where they are, taking their opinions and all. And it's a bit like, how it's a bit like in the office, right? Like, and I often draw parallels, isn't it, between our corporate work and our families. Yeah. I think very similarly, a lot of time, let's say when your manager or boss tell you to do something.
It's leadership.
Yeah, it's leadership. It's tell you to do something. But if we don't know the spirit behind why we're doing it, or we don't understand the why behind we're doing it, we do it begrudgingly. We do it, okay, we do, right? But then, if you spend time to gain a buy-in, you explain why we're doing it. You explain it. You talk about the impact of why it's important. You talk about, what are the benefits of doing this. You gain a buy-in. So for me, it's about gaining buy-in. And once you gain buy-in, you transfer the ownership of the idea from just my idea as a manager to you as an employee, your team member. And I think that's where everybody goes, okay, get it. The whole team now gets the idea, gains the buy-in, and then we work more productively and efficiently together towards the same goal. Instead of top-down. Yeah. And then people have a lot of slight little chatter and all. So this is a great way of kind of borrowing what we works in the office into the family.
That's why we are doing this episode, right? Because being a parent and a parent makes us a better person.
Yes.
It just makes us a better human being.
Yes.
So share us a little bit also from your end. How did being a parent make you a better person with your partner?
With my partner.
How did this come about?
Okay, so this is something that really came out unexpectedly. Right? Because I've always thought about...
And you are the one who wanted a dog. Your one-sided decision,
yes,
right?
I was the one who wanted a dog. In fact, he was afraid of dogs. So he was afraid of dogs in the first place. So the first, I think...
Until you change his mind.
few weeks, it was me spending most of the time with dogs. Because he had a childhood experience. Okay, let me tell you. So his childhood experience was something like he was sitting in a hawker center, and there was a stray cat or stray dog that kind of walked by his leg, and then it brushed across his leg. And then he had a fright of his life, a bit of like that shock. I think because of the shock, he's not able to kind of process it. Any point of time when he feels something hairy or furry brush across his leg, he gets that shock. So there's a bit of a fear. So it's not a huge fear, it's just a bit of a fear. There's a little bit of that fear. And I think it took a while for him to kind of get used to Momo. But now that he has gotten used to Momo, I think he loves her more than I love her. At times, I feel. And I think that's the power of having a pet in the family. And that's the power of
having a pet with unconditional love.
With unconditional love. Because I think the way the pet
look at what love can do to us.
Yeah, love can change anything. Love can truly change anything. And if you will allow love to do its process. Love truly can change anything. And this is what I want to talk about, having the impact on our relationship.
Yeah, please tell us.
So I think parenthood has a very positive impact on our relationship. And I think you're gonna laugh at this. It's gonna be quite funny.
Tell us the before and after.
The before and after. So the before is, let's say, and I'm gonna give you a very good example. The before is, you have your quarrels and your tiffs sometimes, right? I mean, which couple doesn't quarrel? But now when we have a quarrel in front of our kid, our fur kid, we'll go like, hey, number one, we would say, hey, let's not quarrel in front of the fur kid. Because we realize that when we quarrel in front of Momo reacts. Momo reacts. You can see that she is observing, and the pet will look at you, and the pet will know something is wrong. Because you start observing, she's looking at the expression on her face is a bit like concern, because like there are raised voices in the house, number one. Number two is the tail is a bit lower, a bit down, so that means she's not relaxed anymore. She senses some anxiety in the room, some frustration in the room. And then she's looking like, what's happening? And then, so I don't want my dog to feel anxiety. Especially because my dog was adopted, and then she had previous trauma and all. So I'm like, okay, good guys. Like me, my partner go, okay, let's take a pause.
I wonder if there's similarity in how children processes quarreling at home. Because I read this before, that when parents quarrel, right, and children processes ways differently, and especially their brains are not fully developed, they will put the blame on themselves.
Oh.
So I'm just wondering, when you're speaking about like Momo feeling down and anxious, I'm just wondering if dog processes the same way. Do they feel that, oh man,
am I the reason why they're quarreling? Maybe. Okay, I need to dive into that a little bit more, but that sounds very plausible.
Because you're just, oh my god, my parents are quarreling because I'm at fault. Even though it's not, the context is completely not, but
that's how they internalize it.
This is how childhood trauma begins, actually.
Interesting.
But maybe same for dogs.
Very interesting. And for all pets could be thinking about the same way.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
I'm from an observational point of view, I can definitely see Momo reacting. And so therefore, I do not want to quarrel in front of Momo.
And it's a very conscious and great alignment decision that you all say, okay, don't quarrel in front of her.
Or at least it's something that we can kind of like, okay, let's cool off. Let's have a cooling period right now. Let's not talk about it, and let's come back to talk about it when we are feeling a bit more calm. Because we just don't want to add on to the anxiety and that negative energy in the house, because we have another a living, breathing being in the house. So that's one way in which it has helped our relationship.
So it helped because, is it because there's this pause that because normally when quarrels happen and then you don't intentionally put a pause to it, you just escalate, right?
Yes.
But with Momo now at home in the living room, you don't want her to be anxious, you put a pause, and then does that then makes unimportant quarrels just go away?
Yes.
Because a lot of times it just doesn't matter, right?
It does. It de-escalates. So it de-escalates the emotions. Obviously, it brings all that energy down a little bit. And then on top of that, it makes you feel a little bit more like you can't kind of both go into a place where you can calm down a little bit. and revisit later. And you're right. Oftentimes, when you revisit it, it's not a big deal anymore.
Actually, I forget it. Not
important. Just forget it. Like, let's not even talk about it.
Wow.
So, yeah, it happens. So, Momo has diffused a lot of that quarrel a lot of times. Many times, actually.
I'm sure, like, for listeners, if you quarrel a lot and don't have a dog,
yeah, you may want to get a pet. Hey, but I also want to say that it could go south.
Yeah.
It could go the other, because when you have a pet, it's a lot of it's similar to kids, right? You have the conversation around who's doing the morning duty to bring the dog down to pee and poo. Have you changed the diapers? Have you bought the dog food? Have you done this and that? So there's a lot of the coordination that happens as well. But I also want to say, and that leads me to my next point, that there is a lot about each other that you're learning at the same time. And then because you're having a shared responsibility in loving a creature, a dog, you also realize how much the other person can love the dog. And when you see how much love can come from the other person,
you love your partner.
You love a partner even more.
Wow,
Yeah, you really love your partner even more, because you go like, okay, this is a partner that I really love, because there's so much endearment in the way he loves Momo.
So what has your partner done, how has he showed up in his way of loving to Momo that you have this like, wow, he can love somebody, like, what was the aha?
Okay, so I'll get, and again, I'm very practical. I'll give you a very, very real life scenario. So I'm supposed to do the morning duty. I'm supposed to do the morning duty. I'll wake up early and walk Momo, because I'm the morning person. My partner will do the night one, the night duty. So what happens is, sometimes I'm too tired in the morning. Sometimes I wake up and I'm a bit too tired at a late night. And then my partner will be the one to kind of to walk. And he said like, I know you're tired. Okay, I'll take over.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's true love, because he's really not a morning person. He's really not a morning person, so that's true love. And I think seeing him do that in the morning, it's beautiful.
So
I'm thankful.
Yeah, he's giving a love to Momo, right? And also to you.
To me, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So you see how that love for your pet transcends and goes beyond improves your relationship. And I think that's really beautiful.
And I think it is also you exercising a lot of compassion and gratitude, because you wouldn't have chosen not to see it.
Yes, of course.
Right? You could have still seen the old patterns, but because you were able to, you have a lot of love within you.
Yes.
And you could see that, that is love and unconditional love that my partner has for me. You could see that.
Yes.
And I think this just for me to invite our listeners that, there may be so many things going on in your life, like some drama or quarrels or whatever, but there are a lot of things that, if we tune ourselves into, there's actually a lot of love going on that we may or may not see. But if you can open your mind and your heart a bit,
that's right,
you can see that there's so much love going on. Because I think what I'm hearing from both of our sharing is that this whole love of our of a pet, of our children, breeds more love, and this love is breeding more love. It's just abundance of it.
Yeah, and I think it's also just being observant in the little things that you can add to the relationship, and these additional moments and opportunities come about or arise because of our moments with your kids, with our fur kids, and I think these are moments where you can be really appreciative with. Whether it's your partner giving a bit more or helping a little bit more. I think that's where all these moments come in.
All these little gestures,
little gestures.
Actions,
And then all the little gestures add to the relationship. Sometimes, and again, we have talked about this before, it's not always in the grand gestures of things that we show love. It's often in the addition and the accumulation
it's
of
almost
all these small little gestures that we go, this person loves me, or this is how I'm able to contribute by these little gestures.
And I think sometimes if we don't, if we are not like grateful, right? Only when these little gestures is not in our life anymore, then we realize that, actually those were acts of love.
Yes.
So don't wait until the day where they're no longer, just start to appreciate and be really grateful for all these little acts of love that's happening to you, whether it's by your spouse or your children or your pet. I'm sure they have all these little acts of reactions.
These micro affirmations, these micro affirmations.
Wow, micro affirmations.
Micro affirmations of love, micro affirmations of positivity in your life. These are little things that go a long way in a relationship. So I do want to say officially that when you have a pet and when you're pawrent, I do think that it improves the relationship at home.
And also to all parents or parents to be out there, parent is going to be tough. But at the same time, the toughness brings out a lot of rewards.
Yeah.
And it's definitely an opportunity for you to be a better parent, be a better self, be a better employee, leader in wherever you are. Because that's, for me, I got a lot out of it. And that's why we are doing this today.
That's right.
To just share all these things with all of you.
Yeah. And so many of these lessons are truly lessons that we can bring with us, into every aspect of our life. From parenting and pawrenting.
Okay, quotes.
Quotes. Okay, good. Yes. So now we're gonna. So we hope that you have really picked up some of our learnings as a parent, as a parent. We'll go to our quotes. You want to share your quote or?
Okay, I'll share. And this quote is linked to one more parenting tip that I would like to give to all of you out there, is that I think as parents, as I mentioned, we are not more superior than our children. It means that we are willing to meet where they are. And one thing that I would love for parents to do more is to share our stories with our children. Meaning to say, share your struggles when you were young, share the mistakes, share the shameful stuff that you have done in the past, share all these stories. And let's say, for example, if you're having if you're having a stressful day at work or whatever, share it with your children. You share not for them to give you your solutions, but just let them hear you and let them know that you are a human being. Because only by being vulnerable ourselves, then our children can feel connected to us. Then they're willing to be vulnerable. And they don't have to put up a front to be that perfect child or the perfect A student.
I love it.
So this quote is linked to this tip.
Okay.
And this quote is by Philip Pullman. And it goes, after nourishment, shelter and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world.
Shelter and companionship.
Yes, after nourishment, shelter and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world.
Shelter, companionship, and stories. I love stories. Yes.
Share more stories.
Yes. And I think that's what we want to do in our platform as well, because the sharing of stories is so important, right? I mean, just in the previous episode, we were just listening to Ken and Paul share their story, right, of the business. And I think when we share stories, we allow people to give a glimpse of what their story is. And I think when we hear more of such stories, that helps us develop empathy and compassion as an individual.
Because we believe that stories connect us to you.
Yes.
And then from connecting you and your thoughts, and then hopefully you can bring that inspiration to your loved ones. And I think this is what we want to do on this podcast.
Yes. Okay, so my quote. My quote is by Brené Brown, one of my favorite authors, and she also has a podcast.
Yes.
So Brené Brown, and this quote is about marriage. And again, it's also related to parenthood. And you will hear it. You'll hear it. So the quote is, marriage is not something that's 50-50. A partnership works when you can carry their 20 or they can carry your 20, and that when you both just have 20, you have a plan where you don't hurt each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got this quote from a little video that she did. And actually it's a nice little tip and suggestion. It's not about 50-50. And so she has a little exercise where she goes, okay, at the end of every day, she walks in through the door and she'll tell her husband, okay, I'm feeling a 20 today. Obviously, your scale is from 0 to 100. So 20 is a pretty low score, right? And sometimes the partner will say, okay, I'll put in the 80. What needs to be done? Because come on, let's admit it. Not every day is a 50-50, right? And there are days when they both go, okay, we are both a 20. What are we going to do? Okay, let's talk about what we're going to do, what we're going to drop, and how can we encourage each other? Because we're both at a 20. We are both low, and we both need love and encouragement. And this relates back to the simple example of walking the dog in the morning. Sometimes I'm not feeling up to it. Like 50-50, right? 50-50 means I walk the dog in the morning, 50. My partner walks the dog in the evening, 50. But sometimes I just don't have the 50 during the morning. I had late night or whatever reason, I'm feeling blue, I've got a 20. So he pulls in the 80 and walks the dog in the morning. So I think I want to leave this quote with all of you out there that a partnership is not always 50-50. And it's wisdom to know when can I pull in the extra bit to help out, and when do I need to be compassionate and show empathy to my partner and make things work.
And if you're listening to this episode today, which is Chinese New Year Day 1, right? There's a lot of festivities, activities, feasting going on. Probably you'll be a bit tired, because there's a lot of things going on. But I think take a moment to notice the little micro affirmations that people, your friends and your spouse and your pet is giving you.
Lovely.
And just take a moment to appreciate and know that, hey, this is love.
Yes,
and
truly.
you can generate a lot more love also coming from you.
That's right. Appreciate the little things around you, and show someone that a little bit of positivity and love this Chinese New Year as well. You okay?
Right. Yes.
Right. Sounds
Big
good.
One. Good.
Okay. So
thank you very much. My name is Maddy.
My name is Jeremy, and I hope everybody is enjoying your Chinese New Year. We are the
Imperfect Rainbow.
See you next episode.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye.